welcome to the most wonderful time of the year, Oktoberfest 2020. Good, because we are recording now. Welcome, everyone, back to the Project Gen X podcast. My name is Alan Smith, along with...
I am Big Dave.
And we are in Oktoberfest 2020. Yes. Anyway, so since we are in Oktoberfest, and this is the most wonderful time of the year, namely the Halloween season.
It's the first week of Halloween.
It is. And I guess actually when this goes up, it'll be the second week of Halloween. So it's actually, I guess technically it'll still be in the first week. But anyway,
it's the month of Halloween.
It is. Yeah, exactly. It is the month of Halloween. There are 31 days of Halloween, and so since there are 31 days of Halloween, we're going to cover a Halloween movie. Quite literally, we're going to cover Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yes, we are.
All right. Where do we want to begin with this one? Because there are a lot of places that we could start. Do you have a preference, or do you want? And yes, you're hearing candy wrappers in the background.
Yeah,
because,
we made a candy
because it is the month of Halloween, and calories don't count. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're all ghost calories.
They are. They're ghost calories. Is all they are. So. Anyway, what do
you think? Where do you want to start?
All right, let's start with Halloween, the movie, the John Carpenter movie. So he made the movie. It came out in 1978. Mm-hmm. They decided that...
Most of the funding was raised in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yes. It was shot in California. Mm-hmm. Well, he lived in Bowling Green when he was young. And...
Now, his father was the head of the music department at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they actually lived in a cabin right on campus.
Right, but Carpenter had been gone from Bowling Green for...
But he did a lot of the fundraising in Bowling Green.
I don't doubt that in the slightest.
So, Halloween, we get Michael Myers, the iconic slasher.
Right.
One of the, what I consider like the big three.
Well, it was the beginning.
Yeah.
Michael Myers was the first. Some people will argue that Psycho... Norman Bates was the first, but
you knew Norman.
Right.
You got to see Norman's face.
Right.
You kind of had a background on him a little bit in the first part of the movie.
You learn a lot about, he's this guy, he lives with his mom, we're in this roadside hotel, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then, of course, over the course of it, spoilers for a 60-year-old film, it's you find out that his mother's been dead for a while, and that he dresses up like her. He's basically got a split personality, is what it comes down to. And he dresses up as his mother and kills women that he finds attractive, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And so that kind of laid the template for what we got later. This Halloween originally was called the Babysitter Murders. Yeah. That's what it was called. There was no Michael Myers lore going into it. Matter of fact, he was known as the Shape. They just called him the Shape in the beginning, because it's one of those things. He's got that mask that doesn't have any details on it. He's wearing a jumpsuit.
It's basically a mechanic's suit.
Yeah, it's a pair of coveralls. Yeah. Is what it is. And so there's nothing to distinguish that character from any, to make it stand out. Other than the fact that it's completely distinguishable. So anyways, they made that movie. It was a massive success. Success. It was one of the most... until the Blair Witch Project, I think, it was the most successful... Like what's the word? It was the highest grossing independent film of all time, or something like that. Or maybe, actually, no, you know what? It wasn't the Blair Witch Project that broke it. It was The Phantom Menace, actually, because that was not a studio film. Lucas did that completely independent.
And it shows.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where I'd be like, but obviously, he had a lot more money to play with than John Carpenter did. And then, because that's right, because The Phantom Menace came out before Blair Witch Project, so that would have been... Anyways... Massive success. So of course the studio that distributed it is also like, hey, we need to make another one.
Yeah, it's
And
it's Azari.
Yeah, there was a producers on it.
The Mustafa Akkad.
Akkad, who has produced every Halloween movie, every single one of them, all the way through. Decided, hey, we can do a sequel to this, and Carpenter didn't really want to, but he also didn't want to turn it over to someone else as, hey, this was my baby, type thing. So they made Halloween 2, which happens. It's just a continuation of the story. I mean, it picks up exactly where the movie stopped, and it all takes place on this one Halloween night.
Yep.
Well, you fast forward. Let's see. That one came out 80 or 81.
That sounds about right.
81. It came out in 81. Fast forward another year in 82. And we get this movie, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yep.
And people immediately were like, what in the hell is going on here? Where's Michael Myers? Where's, And that was the whole thing that Carpenter was kind of like, hey, let's make this an anthology series.
Well, actually, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, which was his co-producer on the original 2.
Which was his wife, right?
I think so. That sounds right. They didn't want to do a third one. And the only way they would commit to do the third one is if it was not a direct sequel to Halloween and Halloween 2.
Right.
He actually wanted to take it in the direction of an anthology series.
Where basically every new installment would be a new story.
A new story based around Halloween.
Right, and it would be very... It was very self-contained.
Yeah,
every new it would basically be a new episode. Right. Is what it comes down to. This movie has been panned for years now. It's come around in recent years. People have kind of gone back to it. Like, hey, this movie's not quite as bad
when
as...
When I saw it originally, I was like, what
where's
is
Michael
this?
Myers? Where's
Michael Myers?
I know. We all did. We all did.
This movie sucks. This isn't a Halloween movie.
What's funny, and one of the things that happens in this movie is that it takes place in a world where the movie Halloween exists, because we see a commercial for
the movie
Halloween in this movie. They actually did bring back a couple of people from that. Jamie Lee Curtis is every time that he picks up the phone near the end and you hear the telephone operator saying, "I'm sorry, we cannot connect your call," that's Jamie Lee Curtis's voice. Also, one of the actresses in here was in the first one. Hold on.
I don't remember which one.
It is, who was it? I think it was her. Nope, I'm wrong about that one.
Oh, are you?
I was wrong about that one.
Well, never mind then.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get this one, and when I first saw it, I was like, this is not a Halloween movie. I don't know what's going on here. And when we started talking about actually recording this episode, I was like, I need to go back and I need to watch this thing again.
Yes, and this is the first time I've watched it in many years.
And I have to actually recant a little bit, because the movie's actually enjoyable. And as a standalone movie, it's actually not a bad movie. It's actually very enjoyable to watch. It's got a creep factor.
I have said many times over the years, if this was just called Season of the Witch,
it would not have been panned.
It wouldn't have been panned. I think that it would have been received a lot better.
Yeah.
Now,
and if they were wanting to do an anthology series, if they had done Halloween, quote, the babysitter murders on the first one, and then done Halloween, Season of the Witch, they could have gone right into a third movie, Halloween, whatever the subtitle would be.
Right.
But we would have lost one of the iconic slasher psychos.
Yes, but also when you look at some, especially the middle movies,
they're terrible.
I'm sorry for it. 5 is not good. 6 is really bad. 8 is terrible.
But the fact that they kept putting that character back out in front of audiences and reminding them, hey, this guy.
Well, this was the first reboot of this.
Yeah.
You had the original Halloween and Halloween 2, which were a story. This was a reboot. Well, it didn't take. So they came back with 4, which
was
was another reboot, okay?
Yeah.
And so 4, 5, and 6 are kind of continuing that story with Jamie, Jamie, it's not Strode, it's something, I forget what it is. And then Halloween H2O was a reboot, okay? Basically said, okay, all that stuff didn't happen, and we're bringing back Laurie Strode, and we're going to start this whole thing. But
and we kill Laurie Strode.
No, that was in the next one. That
That
was Halloween Resurrection.
You're right.
That was the one that's really terrible. It really. And then we got the
Rob Zombie
ones,
which I really enjoyed. A lot of people didn't like those.
I did too.
I liked the Rob Zombie Halloween.
I liked them because we'll get to that in a minute.
And Carpenter signed off on them.
Right, but then we just had Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
That basically wipes out everything.
All the way back to
episode 1, but to the first one.
Well, to Halloween 2.
No, Halloween 2 is wiped out with this even. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember catching that part of it.
They pretty much wiped out the one that came out 2 years ago that was just called Halloween, basically is a continuation of the first movie, and that's it.
Okay.
So it wiped out everything after the first movie, which Carpenter was completely on board with, and
I really enjoyed.
I did too.
The last one,
and I'm looking forward to Halloween Kills whenever it finally does get out. So
the release dates on everything keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah.
Thank you, COVID.
Yeah, and so it's that was, I thought, a really good sequel.
Yeah.
I like some of those movies, in there.
Yeah.
Some of them were not so good, but I thought that was a pretty good, okay, we're just going to wipe out all the rest of the stuff and say this is the direct sequel, and it takes place in the right time frame.
Yeah.
Where it's this is 40 years later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that was kind of a signature of those 80s slasher flicks, is that the first couple are usually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a decent one in the middle, but the rest of them will suck.
Right.
And,
you go...
And then you get Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is just... Ugh.
It was all right. It was all right.
Or Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, there's several of those.
The Muppet movie of the slasher flicks.
There are several of those Friday the 13th movies that are not good. There are several of the the Nightmare on Elm Street movies that are not good.
No, they're not.
And with this one, there's several in the middle that are not good.
Yeah.
However, since we're talking about Season of the Witch,
yeah.
It's one of those things that Tom Atkins, who plays what is his name? Daniel Chalice?
Dan Chalice.
Chalice.
Dr. Dan
Chalice.
Yeah.
Had a pedigree prior to this. He was in The Fog.
Yeah.
He'd been in a bunch of stuff prior, but that was he was in another John Carpenter movie,
Yeah.
He would go on to be in Night of the Creeps, which is a movie we talked about.
Yep.
We're like, hey, we might need to do this one. But yeah, because he plays the detective, the thrill me. That's what he always says.
Yeah.
He's in Creepshow.
Yep.
It's one of those things that he had a pedigree of horror and all that kind of stuff.
He was in My Bloody Valentine 3D.
The remake, the one that came out a few years ago, which I will say was actually a lot of fun.
Really?
It's not a good movie, but it's a lot of fun.
Popcorn type deal?
Oh yeah. Oh, wait, dude, it is predictable as everything. Literally, I watched it with some friends. Like, we basically did this, like, after it had hit home video, DVD, whatever it was at the time.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, and so we sat around, and we were like, we were sitting around drinking beer, or whatever, and we were just kind of, and dude, we called so much stuff before it actually happened of like, oh, yeah, there it is. Yep, there it is.
Escape from New York.
Yep. I know, another John Carpenter, yeah.
Forgotten about that.
But the whole deal with this one is that the reason it gets the Season of the Witch is that it all has to do with druids. Now, here's the thing.
And Stonehenge.
Well, that's druids, yeah.
Yeah.
It kills me because, like, we start off with, what's the guy's name? We start off with the guy being chased and murdered. And who is that? Last name is Grimbridge. I know that because Ellie, the other star of the movie that we see a little later, it's his daughter, and she's
Harry.
Harry
Grimbridge.
and he dies in a car wreck.
No, he doesn't. He gets chased down by the guys from...
It's the cyborgs from Silver Shamrock, and I thought did the car explode or
no. He's on foot.
I just watched this today. Did they run him over?
He's on foot. They're chasing him.
Right.
He's hiding from them in a junkyard.
Right. That's right.
They get a hold
of
of him. He kills one of them by pulling a wheel chuck out from underneath the wheel and crushing one of the androids between two cars.
Right.
And I forget how he is. He makes it to the gas station. The gas station attendant takes him to the hospital because he's in shock and beat all to death. And that's where the second android catches up with him.
And that's where we get Dr. Chalice and all that. And then there is a nurse or another doctor that is...
It's a nurse.
It's just a nurse. She's doing an autopsy. And they can't... And it's one of those things, they're pulling the quote-unquote body.
Yeah.
But it's the android, but she can't figure out. She's like, they must have gotten this mixed up because there's no human...
It's all car parts.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
What's this weird looking gear about?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. It is another doctor. I thought you were talking about the nurse in the hospital that watches the android blow up in the car.
No, yeah. I was talking about the doctor that's doing it's his whatever. We also find out that Dan is divorced. And his
sleeping around.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic and a womanizer.
Yeah.
And his ex-wife and his two kids appear in the very first of it for a second. He gets some Halloween mask, and it's not the right masks.
Yeah, they've already got Silver Shamrock
Shamrock mask, which I love those Silver Shamrock masks.
You can still get them.
They were never available.
No, they were
not.
Yes, they were. Don Post.
Did Post make them?
Post was the one who made them.
Okay.
And after the movie was released, they were getting such high request for the mask, they actually got Don Post to put out a line of the 3 masks.
I know
and you can still get them from
a few years ago. I know that they kind of came back.
Well, Don Post's son took over the company.
Okay.
I forget what the name of the company is. It's not Don Post Productions anymore. It's something else now. But you can actually get the 3 masks online
witch,
again. The witch and the ghost were already...
It's a witch, a pumpkin, and a skull is what it is. Yeah.
Well, the skull and the witch were already in the Don Post lines. He was already producing them.
Okay.
The pumpkin he did specifically for the movie.
Okay. You did more research on this than I did. I knew that they had come back a few years ago, that somebody had started producing them a few years ago. I did not know they were originally available.
Yeah. Well, I've also been a huge Don Post fan.
Don Post did some great stuff.
I've had several of the Don Post production masks, for the different Halloween stuff.
You got the the original Don Post stuff. That's just like the jumper and
at one point
the smock and like the little masks that have the rubber band, And
no, I never had that. I actually had the full latex Michael Myers mask, which is in very, very bad repair at this point. Mm-hmm. But somebody had bought me an actual coverall set from Centos, so it was the right color blue, it was the right design and all that, and there's pictures of me actually dressed as Michael Myers at a Halloween party in the cabin that John Carpenter actually lived in at some point.
Nerd.
Full disclosure, I am a major nerd.
Yes,
I was part of the folklore club at Western Kentucky. One of our fundraisers is we actually did
so beating you up.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Your lunch money.
I outweigh you by 100 pounds,
I know,
so you can try. But we actually did a screening of Halloween in the cabin that John Carpenter lived in on campus.
Right.
And it gives you a whole different thing because, like, there's a train track that runs the edge of the campus there. Well, when we were watching the movie, the train scene happens where they find the car next to it, and the train comes by and it pulls a pattern.
Right.
We're like,
Loomis is on the phone.
We're way past that point in the movie, and all of a sudden a train goes by and it pulls almost the identical pattern.
Nice,
it's weird stuff like that.
That's cool.
All the towns in the movie are named for towns around Bowling Green.
Right. But it's so obviously like LA because there's like
palm trees.
There's palm trees in the background. There's like they had like one bag of leaves, and they had to like in between takes they had to go and like get them all so they didn't get away, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like
but over the years I've had several different Don Post masks.
Yeah, Don Post made some great stuff, and those things are expensive these days too.
Yeah,
a lot of those early ones. I mean, there's a real collector's community.
I wore mine, and I wore mine, and I wore mine, and then when they got to where I couldn't wear them anymore, I used them for mannequins, you know, for Halloween builds and all that. I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
That demon that I bought at that haunted house.
That. Yeah. That's when you and I first. Well, yeah, that's when we first met. Yeah. You know, it's like that around that time that we met. I remember you buying that at that haunted house.
Yeah, that was a Don Post.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so back to the movie now, because I know we're going to have plenty of asides while we're doing this. So yeah, come to find out. Long story short here. The guy. Conal Cochran is the guy's name.
Yeah.
That owns Silver Shamrock.
Irish.
He's Irish, and he, which is funny considering what we're getting ready to say, has brought a piece of Stonehenge to this little town in California.
And actually, you see a news story.
There's a news story that says there's a piece missing. Yeah, and the funny thing is, he makes it towards the end of it when we find this out. He says something about if you only knew what it took to get it here. They never explain at all. But yeah, there is a newspaper article that's saying that there is one of the stones from Stonehenge is missing. So basically what he's doing is they're putting pieces of stone, or they've used the magic in Stonehenge to, they're putting them in the masks in the little Silver Shamrock trademark, like the little button that's on there.
On the back.
On the back. And do you know what the thing actually does? Because this is explained in something that's canonical.
Where they're chipping off the little pieces.
Well, it's beyond that. I mean, basically what it is, because Conal explains that he's always been a jokester, and basically this is the ultimate joke on kids and families of making these masks kill the kids. Well, the thing is that every time we see, or the one time we see a child
killed the way it's
supposed to. Basically, what happens? He's watching they're playing the Silver Shamrock commercial, and there's a pumpkin. There's a strobing pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern on the screen.
Faster and faster.
And he falls down, and it looks like the mask is melting or whatever. Then all of a sudden, a huge snake and a bunch of crickets and all this stuff starts coming out of the mask. Okay, so they never explained exactly what was going on there in the movie. However, the novelization that came out in 82 with this gave an explanation of what was going on.
Okay.
And here is I went to, everybody go check out dinosaurdracula.com. It's one of my favorite places as far as like Halloween related stuff, and they do a pretty cool podcast over there called the Purple Stuff Podcast also.
Okay.
That is very like horror centric, and all that.
Oh, I'm going to look it up right now.
Oh, absolutely. So, but he has a rundown here. I found it because I knew this is where I had read it. Matt, the guy who runs this, loves this novelization. He's talked about it multiple times.
Okay.
Basically, what it says is that in the film, Little Buddy's face remains tastefully obscured by the melted mask. By contrast, the book suggests that his eyes become blood-red orbs. The random snake is still the scene's big bad, but the book teases that there was a whole lot more coming out of Buddy's head. In the movie, we just see a room partially filled with snakes and crickets. The book version indicates an unending mass of creatures in such volume that the victims can barely be identified. Most notably is the author comparing Little Buddy's defiled head to a doorway to another dimension. So if you look at it from that, basically what he's doing is he is opening dimensional portals in every one of the masks when.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's why all these snakes and bugs and everything are coming through. They're coming from another dimension.
Wow.
And yeah.
So he's basically taking everybody's head, and instead of exploding them, he's
using them as a portal, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like, wow, they could have never. I don't think they could have ever explained that well enough in the movie for it to work. But that's still kind of like when you think of it in that respect, it's like, wow, that's some pretty dark stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Especially at the end where Dr. Dan basically dumps all the buttons with the little pieces of
Yes.
Stonehenge down on top of
all the androids.
the androids and him. And
right.
it basically puts a beam. It basically opens a portal from going from the
rock.
Stonehenge rock through Colin
Right.
into all the
Now,
TVs that are
that's
playing the
one of the
commercial.
things that's explained is that Conal actually survives that. He's not dead.
Really?
Yeah, that's in the novelization also. It explains that he himself did not die in that.
So he's a flat out druid.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is that he talks about, he's talking about Samhain, the ancient one, and he's like, the last time that, the planets, this year that they're doing it, the reason they're doing this is because all the planets are aligned, and the last time that they were aligned, that, he said that, the mountains ran with, blood sacrifices, and all this kind of stuff. He's basically, and there's our train, he's basically trying to bring around another age of witchcraft is what that's the
Season
whole,
of
yeah,
the witch.
exactly.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. If you squint just enough and hold your mouth just right and stand on one foot and tilt your head at the proper angle, you can actually pull this movie into the rest of the Halloween lore. Especially with what we learned later in like 5 and 6.
Okay, I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt.
I said if you squint really just right and hold your head at just the right angle,
go ahead and pull this thread and let me see what you're weaving here.
I'm just saying because that's one of the things we find out later, that the whole, like especially in the Curse of Michael Myers, that Michael Myers is a manifestation of a druid, of an ancient druid spirit. That can't be killed. That is just it's basically a killing machine, and so it's one of those things. Like I said, if you squint just right and maybe take the right hallucinogenics, you can tile run a string between all of these. But it was meant to be a completely standalone. I think nothing to do with Michael Myers, nothing to do with any of that stuff. So,
okay, looking into a little bit of Samhain and some of the monsters associated with Samhain, there is one called the Slog, and it's Slaughh, and I'm sure I'm completely messing up the Gaelic there.
Right, you're not Irish enough.
Well, I'm Scottish.
Yeah, I know.
So the Gaelic, anyway. This is spirit.
Hey, I'm Irish enough. I was a drunk for a lot of years.
That's what they call Irish in spirits.
Hey, no. I actually am Irish and German, so I got it straight up.
That's a bad combination. Anyway, the Slog would come in. He'd come from the west, and he would enter houses and steal souls.
Okay.
Which I could see where maybe
I know, but but again, The Curse of Michael Myers is such a mess of a movie that you cannot figure out what's going on in that thing. So
true.
But we do know that it has something to do with druids and manifesting spirits, because that's the whole thing that they they're going to put it into the baby and all this kind of stuff. And it's just it's crazy.
It's bad.
It really is. But Season of the Witch, one of the things I really liked about it, like I said, I watched it before you came over today.
I watched it 2 or 3 nights ago.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things. One of the things I really love about it is the town. What is it? They're in California. One of the things, I can't remember what the name of the made-up town that they use in it, is that there's not much in this town. Basically, we see a hotel, we see the factory, and we see a few buildings here and there.
They're all...
it's all Silver Shamrock basically owns the entire town.
It's a factory town.
Yeah,
in fact, they make the comment, it's a factory town.
Yeah. I really like the way they film this, in the fact of there is not a lot... I mean... There is a score. And that's another thing.
Santa Mira.
Yeah.
And
John Carpenter actually...
Santa Mira actually shows up in another movie. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head right
John
now.
Carpenter did all the music on the soundtrack again, like he had for the previous two. The thing is that they do... There's a lot of, like... And it's one of the things I love in movies.
Oh, that's what it was. The other horror movie that Santa Mira shows up in... is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay.
Which
one?
The original, the
Okay.
56
Okay,
film.
so he used it.
So it was an homage
there you go.
to
That
Invasion of the
makes
Body
sense. That
Snatchers
makes
because
sense.
now you've got these androids where they're
androids,
snatching these
right.
people and then replacing them with
one
androids.
of the things that I saw earlier, I was looking up some facts about Season of the Witch,
Yeah.
and it said that even the director has no idea when Ellie was switched out for an android. Because it's one of those things that you find out that she's an android.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where, because she had been captured by the Silver Shamrock and taken to the factory.
Yeah.
And so at some point she had been switched out. And that basically the director was even like, I have no clue. It just this is what the script said, and this is what we did. So
It evidently Santa Mira shows up in a whole lot of stuff, including
Anyway.
the Dark Tower series.
Okay. Well, anyways, the whole thing is that I love the way they filmed this movie.
Yeah.
In that they don't use a lot of music to try to set the mood. They just let the natural sound, the ambient sound of wherever they're shooting. If they're outside, you get all the crickets and the trains in the background or whatever it is. It's all that type of stuff. I know it's in film. It's called it's
Foley.
Yeah, it's Foley, and it's just one of those things where it's just like they're just shooting what's out there, and it really does kind of make it. At the end of it, whenever Dan is running, when he realizes that Ellie's been taken, and he sees there's 6 androids coming after him, and he goes out the bathroom window in the hotel, and he's running around, that kind of stuff. I love all of that because it really does. There's nothing else going on in this town. All you see are these factory cars that are running around.
There's a mandatory
there's a
curfew at
right.
6 p.m.
Right.
Where the entire town rolls up the sidewalks.
And so it's one of those situations where he's running through this small town to begin with, and then even when they escape, they've set the factory on fire.
Yeah.
The way that is filmed, again, even though you can tell that it's a layered, that it's like, oh, that fire is not the building, it's behind it. It's still the way that it was filmed. It looks good. Yeah. And I especially love practical effects in horror movies, and that was a practical effect.
Absolutely.
So it's I say go back and look and watch it again. I know there have been several articles written about.
Take it as a standalone movie.
Don't
take it as a Michael Myers Halloween.
Look at it as a movie called Season of the Witch. That's all it is.
Well,
that's
like we've already said, this was supposed to begin an anthology of where it was a story wrapped around Halloween.
Right.
If you look at it that way, this would have been the second in the series.
The thing about it, though, is that all of the major horror franchises did something like this, kind of.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 5 does not have Jason Voorhees in it. Yeah. It's somebody else who's basically impersonating him.
Right.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2 has nothing to do with the Elm Street children at all.
No.
It's like it's just Freddy's. Yeah, this new family moves into the house where Nancy had lived, but it has nothing to do with the actual Elm Street children at all.
Now he's just killing anybody that moves into his
pretty
house.
much. And then it's then we get back to it in the third one, which is a much better movie. And so it's one of those things that all the 3 major or the 4 major franchises, there's 3 major franchises, all took a side street at some point away from their their normal stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and especially this time of year, because a lot of people I know are making their movies to watch, 31 movies to watch or whatever. I've seen several people post stuff on Facebook over the last couple of days. So these are the movies that I'm watching over the course of this month, and that's cool. I mean, I do something similar, and we're going to share ours later in the month for something and Dave's like, what? He's like, no, we are. And I'm going to give you plenty of time to put it together so you can actually whittle it down into the proper framing part.
He didn't tell me what's happening. I just show up and figure out what I'm going to talk about.
There is a lot of that as well. Yeah. But yeah, Halloween Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I should say.
I have to admit, I enjoyed it.
I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
A lot more this time around. Now that since it was okay, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to try to be objective about it and not compare it to the Michael Myers. And then when the commercial shows up, I was like, okay. Yeah.
Now the one thing is that Tom, what did I say his name was? Tom Atkins. Is that his name?
Yes.
He gets involved with Ellie in this movie. And Stacey Nelkin, who plays Nancy, is like 25 years younger than he is, and it's very obvious. And it's kind of like
obvious
because even like during their sex scene, he says something about, "Oh, hadn't you had enough?" and or something. And then he asked, "How old are you?" Like after they've already. She's like, "Don't worry, I look older than I am." It's like, did you really have to go there? I know we were all kind of thinking it, but it was still.
And what's bad? This is going to sound terrible, but in the middle of that scene, I was expecting the bad 70s.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know the porn music. I know. Again, shot without music.
Yeah.
You know, I really love the fact that they did that. You know, even like because like in the next room, whenever you see the woman, you know, she's messing with the little button, and she gets hit with a laser.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where that happens, and again, I mean, there's some noise, some special effects noises.
Yeah.
But there's not music to like, because normally in a normal movie you'd get this big da, you know, like strings or horns or something, you know, and you don't get that here.
You get a musical jump scare,
right?
basically.
And then it's one of those things that cuts back over there, and like, hey, what was that?
Yeah.
You know, so. I like the way that it was shot, if nothing else, and the acting wasn't bad either.
No.
The acting was better in this than Pet Sematary that we talked about. Yeah, I mean that and Pet Sematary had quote unquote better actors than this. You know, Fred Gwynn, come on. But what's her name? Denise Crosby is supposed to be a good actress, you know. So it's I know. So anyway, so guys, this was a lot of fun. We're gonna be back. Like I said, you're getting 2 a week from us on these, and we're gonna be back with some more stuff. And we hope that you are enjoying this most wonderful time of the year as we are, because believe me, here in Tennessee, it feels wonderful outside. It
was a high of what, 67?
Yeah, something like. I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, it's been so nice, and the leaves are starting to turn here, you know, in fall, and it
finally feels like fall.
It does. And it's so awesome because normally in Tennessee, it is hot.
98 degrees.
It's in the 80s until probably right up in the week before Halloween. And sometimes we've had Halloween where it was still 75 degrees outside, and it's kind of miserable. But this year, it's been like, no, we're going to actually give you an autumn season.
I'm going to knock on some wood here real quick, just
because
it
could completely turn around on us and go the other way, all the way up till Christmas. It's happened before.
Yeah.
So
yes, it has.
But anyways, we hope that you are enjoying this Halloween and autumn season. And check out caffeineandsleepingpills.com and go and check us out on social media at projectgenxpod on all the major stuff.
All the major stuff,
and
including Parler.
And we're also we have been putting stuff up on Instagram to go along with it. You get to see that I'm up way too late doing editing on these podcasts.
Remember that episode we did about insomnia?
Yeah.
You can actually hang out with Alan on Instagram.
Pretty much. And I started like posting stuff like after midnight. Yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Yeah, between coughs and candy, you know, and sips of coffee. This is going to be an interesting episode too. Every bit of this is going to be edited. Maybe put on the end for outtake stuff.
I'm definitely going to have a sugar high.
No joke. So.